Okay, let's go to edit. As you can see, the performance is made out of several patches or programs, and they're layered across the board and with panning and stuff like that. So let's clear out some of those patches here until one is left, and then we go to the effects and make sure they're clear out also, because I don't want to have effects at this point of time. And now we go to the patch itself. We have selected it. Go to press patch. Now we are at the patch section. It's this patch is built up with one oscillator, so we're going to initialize that patch completely by pressing init. It says, are you sure? Yes. So now it's completely wiped out, and if we go to waves, you can see it left us one sound, wave in this case, and there are tons of waves in there. It's amazing what they managed to cram into 4 megabytes in that day. What it also does, it leaves a modulation on the modulation wheel. So try to remember that. So you always have modulation on the modulation wheel because it's set that way. So we're going to make an analog string, and there's even a wave in there. I think it's 410. You see, yeah, it goes analog strings, and it already sounds like an analog string. I'm going to demonstrate that for a moment. No, that's an analog string, and but we're not going to use that obvious wave or sample. We're going to use another one, and I'm going to start by punching in 254 and enter, and we get a saw wave. Quite basic. And after we have done that, I'm going to press exit. I'm going to macros. What are macros? Macros are simply preset settings for the pitch or the filter or the amplifier or the panorama. It means left or right. And I'm going to select by the amplifier. I'm going to set it to string. It will set my envelope already to a string type setting, so it goes up slow and fades slow. And I'm going to press amplifier now, and here this is the envelope. It says edit amplifier envelope. What's an envelope? It's nothing more than an enhanced volume slider, knob, whatever you want to call it. And it's that's actually all there is. There's nothing more to say about that. And as you can see, here's the string settings which I made in the macros, and it goes up and it goes down exactly like I want it. That's it. Makes pretty much sense. Okay, after I've done that, I'm going to set this to 45. I want it a tiny bit slower. Yeah, that's fine. So after I've done that, I'm going to the pitch. As you can see, this is the pitch screen, and you can do several things with the pitch. I'm not going to in-depth for that. And it's already connected to an LFO1. You can, if you want, go there. You can connect it to several things, LFO2, an envelope, aftertouch, and so on and so on. So, but I'm going to leave it at envelope at LFO1 because we're going to edit LFO1 also. Well, after we've done here, it's fine. Let's leave it that way. Now we're going to the LFOs itself. And as you can see, this is the LFO screen, and if we go a bit down, you see the LFO mod is set to aftertouch and the modulation wheel. Well, what does that say? Well, as you after we initialized the patch, it left the modulation wheel settings, and these are the modulation wheel settings. Mod wheel, it says an amount of 15. So I'm going to leave that also, and the only thing I'm going to change is I'm going to set the depth of the modulation to linear keyboard. Why did I do that? Because I want the LFO all over the board. I don't want to have a modulation wheel controlling it. So now we can. It's already set to a rate, the speed of the LFO, and the amount. If you crank it up real fast, you hear this. And if we crank it a bit down, like let's say 3 or 4, it gives you a nice LFO on the saw wave in this case. Well, I'm pretty much finished with that. I'm going to press exit. Now I'm going to the filter. What I want is the filter to go from dark slowly to light and then go dark again. And how we're going to do that, if I set this to, let's say 40, and we listen to the sound, it erases, well, not erases, but it blocks the higher frequencies of the wave sample. But I want those frequencies coming back, and there's only one way I can do that, or by using an envelope. And as soon as you see here envelope 1, and this is the envelope of the filter. So we had an envelope for the amplifier, and now we have an envelope, an enhanced volume slider for the filter. And there's a macro also for that. It's quite interesting. Set it to string. And I'm going to set the attack also about 45. And now we have this. But it doesn't do nothing at this point of time. Why is that? Well, I'm going to explain. If you see, it's set to an envelope 1 and the amount is set to 0. The 0 means do nothing. So we don't want that, so we go to the envelope amount and crank it up to 127. So now the envelope is fully active, and now we have this. Now you actually hear the filter coming up and going down. That's what I wanted. Okay, press exit again. So now we have basically everything I wanted for the saw wave. Doesn't sound very interesting at this point of time, but bear with me. I'm going exit until I get to the oscillator section again. I'm going to use the dial and turn it to the right. All of a sudden we have 2 oscillators. We can make it 4, but we leave it at 2. If I go to the waves, you can actually see here it copied exactly the same settings over to another oscillator. And now it's we have A and C, or 1 and 2, no matter how you want to call it, but it's important. A and C are very important. You have a vector joystick on your Wavestation, and if you turn it to the left and right to A and C, then you will hear, depending on what waves you have, of course. So after you've done that, what I'm going to do is, it's by the way, it sounds like this, and it doesn't really sound like a string. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to use the fine tune. I'm going to fine tune wave A to +2 and the C to minus, and now we have this. It always sounds a whole lot better. And if you want to make it more interesting, I'm going to turn that C wave a completely octave down, -12. Now we have this. Well, that sounds a whole lot better. So after we have done that, I'm going back to the macros, because I want to do something with panorama, left and right. So I'll go to pan. As you can see, there are 2 options. We can have the panning on the velocity or on the keyboard amount. In this case, I'm going to use the keyboard amount, and let's go up to wave all. If you dial with your alpha dial, you see wave A, wave C, so you can select the wave and give the wave its own keyboard amount on the panning. So we're now at wave C. I'm going to set that to minus 27, 127, to 1, oh my god, 127. Let's do it again. Oh, now it's plus. Again, so now it's gone. It's okay now. Go back to wave C, wave A, and that to plus 127. And to demonstrate what it does, I'm going to exit for a moment, back to the oscillator, to the waves. I'm going to mute C. Now we can hear it, listen. It's on my left side, and the high note is on my right side. And for wave C, it's the other way around. So if I play it, it will spread it across the keyboard. It gives it a nice full sound. After we've done that, we're basically almost done. We're going to exit again. Wait a minute. Go back to patch, and let's write it. I'm going to write it to the sound. Execute. So now it's written, so I can't lose it. Now I'm going back to the performance settings here. And in the performance settings I can give it effects. So press the effects. As you can see, I'm going to punch in 17. This is a dual mono delay, and underneath I'm going to give it a large hole. It's a bit overkill, but for tutorial purposes it doesn't matter. What we now have is this. So we have a delay and a large reverb on the sound, which makes it really sound really good. And because I shut down the LFO on the modulation wheel, what I wanted is I want the amount of the reverb on the modulation wheel. By pressing FX2, now we can edit the whole effect. And as you see here, it says SRC. You can set it to wheel. You can even crank up the amount. And to demonstrate that, I will press a note and move the modulation wheel. And now we have that. So now we have made an analog string with fairly ease, and what I also recommend is, now we have this nice string. Go back to patch, and now you can select every wave you want. It doesn't matter which one it is. Another one, and change the wave A. Doesn't matter which one you take, whatever you want. You can now make an infinite amount of strings without using the well-known inner strings. You can also use that one if you want. Let's do that for a moment. Then now we have both inner strings, and that sounds like this. Which makes it really sound full. Let's exit that for a moment, and of course we can copy that. Now we have doubled it, and I'm going to the detail of the second one, and it's already set to -12 because I already fiddled with it, and that sounds like this. So it even doubles it, and you can even make real fat analog strings to this machine if you want. So let's get that out of the way. And well, that wraps up this tutorial. Don't forget to write this patch, by the way, or this performance. Let's do that right away. Execute, done. Simply press write and execute, then it's done. So I hope this tutorial was a bit informative, and it's a basic way of programming your synth, in this case Wavestation. This is a one-on-one tutorial, as I mentioned, and if this tutorial is well received, I will really do a in-depth on the Wavestation itself, including the wave sequencing part and how to use it, how to utilize it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.